Welcome back to the Titanium Hanger. This is Mike coming at you with the weekly news in review for February 23rd, 2025. Of course, great week of Transformers news. Now, there's not a lot, and I do kind of anticipate that we are going to see a whole lot more coming up in the next few weeks. We have some Tmnt news in the form of the Joy toy, 3 different characters. We've got some Super 7 Ultimates. Now, this is not really new, but it is new. It is news. I've already made a video. We'll touch on it really quick. And then there's some teasers of the Storm Arena, not Storm Collectibles. These are the $35, $37 figures, something around that price range. And then we got some Batman stuff going on that we talked about it last week. Now the pre-orders went up, sold out. The only way to get it is how? I'll tell you. And then we've got some Lord of the Rings stuff going on right here. Some more characters, some more figures. We've got another figure that you're going to have to pre-order at Mattel Creations coming up pretty soon. Don't really know the date this order goes up just yet, but it's nice to see the figure that's next on that list. And then we got Star Wars stuff. Man, I gotta say, it's either a full-time job or an extreme part-time job looking for Star Wars news. Talk about this and more coming up. Starting out with what's new at the Show Z store. Well, there is the Casey Jones from Joy Toy, and it looks interesting. It's more kind of a real-world look to it than a cartoon look. I would have preferred a cartoon, to tell you the truth, but I did pre-order it. I'm going to be getting one of these, $42. Then we've got this one right here. So it's called Captain Zorax. And yeah, it looks alright. Looks like one of the Triceratons or something like that. But anyhow, they've got, I think, 2 different versions. One's got melee weapons, one's got guns. I'm only getting one of each myself. And this one is the Zork Adjutant, Zork, whatever it is. Anyhow, this just kind of looks like the ones they made from NECA, and I don't know a whole lot about the characters, but I've got one of each coming in just to take a look at them because they are kind of fun in this scale. Remember, anything you order, THN, the support your viewer code helps the channel out. And there's a lot of news right here this week, but I'm going to start with pretty much Friday's video. So the reissue of Cesium and Jabber coming out, and some of the information from the Friday video that came out was that Jabber was up on BBTS for $109.99. Then I guess they sold out, then put it back up for $189.99 or something like that. And this is TF Source right here. They want $199.99. Original price was like $95, right around $100 back in 2019. And then Cesium over there, the original price on that was $130, and every place is asking between $250 and $265 that I've seen. Shozy Store is sold out on pre-orders of Jabber, but I think Monday, early Monday morning, they'll probably put more up. Generally what happens, they go, oh, we sold out of pre-orders, because Mike probably made a video talking about it. This is all in my head, of course. And then they sell out of the pre-orders, and then like, well, let's put more up. But they might not. I don't know. That's the time to check. I would check early Monday morning. And then for Cesium, still have a pre-order at Shozy Store, but sold out. I think both of these are sold out at BBTS. And then looking at the middle there, TF Source asking $1,300 for a full set of Fans Toys Superion. All right, more Masterpiece stuff. There is the MPG 10 lift ticket, an MPG 11 DK2 guard in hand. And I've got to say this. So these are repaints of figures they've already made. And I don't really like the mold on the right very much. And I'm curious how well these sell. And I will tell you this, they're still up for pre-order everywhere pretty much that has put pre-orders up. And I just checked BBTS because they usually sell out. And they still have theirs. So I don't think they're going to be a smashing hit of repaints. But hey, it's still nice to offer this kind of stuff. The different offshoot repaints. And I do like the Hoist mold from Takara. I like it the most out of all of them. Aesthetically, it looks the best. It doesn't weigh the most. It's not the heaviest, but it does look the best. here's the alt mode for the lift ticket, and really no surprise, but you do get to see the color variation, the different colors, the color scheme, and how it's going to work out into the alt mode, which it's a solid alt mode too. And then here's the alt mode for the guard, and it looks good overall for the most part. And I put my Takara ones back into alt mode. I love how they look in alt mode, and to me, since I got the X-Transbots ones in bot mode, these in alt mode, win-win. Well, the original versions, not this repaint. Right, next we have these. Well, this is these one and the same for the most part, right? Or these two different versions. Anyway, this is the Transformers Optimus Machina AMT-01 Rodimus Prime in hand. It's trying to get all those words out, but there's a nice picture. And here's just a figure on its own. Now, this one is transformable. It is based on the Flame Toys non-transformable figure and design, and then it's made into something that does transform. So it's one of those weird things. It's kind of like sidestepping back and forth to get to this as a transforming figure, which I have to admit is probably quite challenging, actually, to just take a stylized design and realize it into reality with this alt mode right here. Now, it's quite busy as an alt mode, as a vehicle. I do think it's cleaner in the bot mode, and I will admit that the combined, well, not combined, but the alt mode does seem a little bit like an afterthought in a way, because it technically is. But anyhow, there it is. That's how it looks. So we do have some pictures of the YOLO Park Mirage, and I think it does look pretty good overall. I'm not a fan of really how they did this character, how they went about making Mirage look in the actual live action movie, but I will say that this figure is a good representation of that character or live action movie character version. But I think YOLO Park did a good job with it. So looking at it, it's got apparently great paint, highly articulated, and it feels like a lot cooler than actually watching it in the movie. Seeing this action figure in action figure form, but there it is. And with all that said, I don't think I'm picking it up. So it's yet another week, another Optimus Prime. We have the Transformers Optimus Prime MDLX 3.0 Sleep Mode. Now these are MDLX Mini, as in about the 7-inch size, 7-inch scale, 18 centimeters would translate into that, but Sleep Mode, just a repaint, recolor, and he's not sleeping, he's dead. So we've got another upgrade kit, and this is something that either it's the same person that was working on the upgrade kit and they've gotten to a new level with it, or somebody else saw it and said, hey, I could do better than that, but it looks really good. In my opinion, I think they've done a good job with this upgrade kit. What exactly is in the upgrade kit? Well, it's not so much an upgrade kit. What it is a replacement kit so that you can have your Ultra Magnus stand side by side with your white Prime Ultra Magnus. And they tried to make the contour of the rear of the leg match almost exactly, except you don't have the hardware of it opening and closing. It's just a solid chunk in my belief. But really, you're getting all of the hardware with the knees and stuff with it. I think they've done a pretty good job with it. I'm tempted. It's only like $37 plus 5 shipping, so probably $43 after everything's all said and done, shipped out the door, I believe. But I'm considering it. It just seems like there's going to be more and more people jumping on the bandwagon, making stuff like this, and it's exciting. All right, this is something that I have absolutely no place that you can go to order it. I don't know where you'll be able to get your hands on it, but it's called Mini-Force Dinoid Rex Kaiser Teaser. Now, I'm leaving it in the Masterpiece space, even though I think it's probably made for Legends scale or Chug scale, but it is definitely something that would be considered maybe third party along those range. Anyhow, it does look interesting, and the lighting and the way they're doing the reveal here, it does make it look a lot cooler probably than when we see it in the lights, but I'm sure it's going to be vastly colorful. I think we've seen some of these already. I guess let's get into some legends here. Now, the New Age gears And as it swerve, I keep forgetting what's what with those extra repaint ones. Anyhow, I had hopes it was going to be taller than this, and then, I mean, I found out since then that they're not very tall, but I was really excited because of the warpath being so tall. So their warpath just towers over the rest of them, which isn't the way G1 did it, and it's not the way most companies do it. The warpath is not usually that much bigger than the rest of them in this Legends scale. But anyhow, I was kind of hoping for taller, but I guess Gears is a little bit smaller. Speaking of New Age, there's a Go Better kit for New Age Toys EX version, which would be the toy coloration version, and it adds like some more dimension to the shoulders and the thighs, and it's hard to get everything in one picture, but there's also going to be some back. Let's get the back put up here, and there shows more, I guess, coverage. And you get the butt flap. You get the butt flap, butt covered and thigh covered. And if you want all that, just throwing this in the Legends, but Dr. Wu, and they're making what they're calling Disc Jockey, or it's a 2007 Transformers Frenzy that turned into a little boombox, and it was one of the weird ones. It was kind of weird, but yeah, this is MC05 DJ Master. Now, thanks for people telling me that Iron Factory's making a Minosaur. I seem to have missed it somehow. So this is probably considered old news, but it's still news. And it is in their Samurai series, where it is more of a Samurai Minosaur, not really all that G1, but not really too far off either. They are usually pretty darn stylized, and looking at the alt modes are pretty decent overall. It's a different, interesting, stylized take. If you're interested in something like this, then going in on the set, I think you still have to buy everything separately as like EX 80, 81, 82, 83, and 84 to get this done and combined. But yeah, it looks like it'd be fun once it's done. Here's the Naruto crossover of Kurami and Gamakichi. I don't pretend I know anything about this, but there it is, and it's found at a GameStop. So there it is. I guess it's being released in the US market. Here's a prototype picture for the Age of the Primes, Megatronus the Fallen. And it's sent by via Gold Prime of TFW 2005. It's a cool looking figure. A lot of people feel like the Studio Series 86 Megatron's going to be based on this. I don't know. I do not know, but I gotta say, it's gonna be really hard for Hasbro to beat what New Age did aesthetically, style-wise, with theirs Studio Series-ish version of Megatron. But as it's Prime's Megatronus, I think it looks pretty good. I mean, the whole lines here and how it's set up, it looks like a good-looking figure. I think people are gonna be after it. Here is the Studio Series Sunstreaker concept art version, which it doesn't really look all that bad. I first saw this one and I thought that it was quite a departure, but now with all the paint, you see the colors, it's really not all that bad. I do like the chest on it the most. I think it's a pretty good chest. Here's the alt mode, which is, you wouldn't be able to tell it was a Lamborghini by looking at it, would you? So I guess they did their stylization on purpose. And I have my own theory about a lot of this stuff, but a lot of times they don't want to put out a Lamborghini because they don't want to deal with licensing. Check in on the Liokaiser HasLab. It's got 29 days left by the time you watch this. Still, it'll probably say 29 days left. And it is past the funding, has not unlocked a tier yet, has, of course, 29 days to go. And it's got 12,090 backers. Only needed 10 to fund. And I don't think the tiers are really that important. So I think anybody that's going to get it for the $300 are happy with the offering. They'll be happy with it. I don't think the tiers will really change much one way or another. But, I mean, it is always nice to get extra stuff when you buy something like this. But yeah, that's where it's at. It's not really a juggernaut. They did open up ordering in Japan, which will probably help it. But curious if it hits all three tiers. All right, we've got the Age of the Primes Deluxe Animated Fugitive Waspinator in hand. And this was from No Trab. And That's a cool looking figure. If you're really into this era, then I think they've done a great job with it. They've nailed it for the most part. And with that, it's something that you'd probably want to pick up. It does transform, and that's always a good thing. It transforms into this, and there it is. And I don't really think it's that bad of a looking alt mode either. They've done a good job in both modes. There you go, if you're in on this Waspinator. Does he still say Waspinator Terrorize when he transforms? Alright, so I guess this is now the confirmation of the Supreme crossover with Transformers Optimus Prime. It's a collaboration. This is a stock image. Before it was a leaked image, leaked information about it, and now it is confirmed. So that's the only real difference, but it does look quite interesting. It is one of those things that, I mean, could you really have too many Optimus Primes? But I don't know if I'd want to pay the price it would take to try to get my hands on one of these. It's still just fun to look at and to know it's part of the, well, it'll soon be part of Transformer history. And we've got a sighting of the Mandalorian N1 starship found at U.S. retail by Chicagoland. Chicagoland took this picture, I guess. And this is, it's a good idea. I feel like these crossovers are better executed than the ones they did 10 years ago. But I'm not really all in on them. I appreciate them for what they are, but I just don't get excited for them. And I wasn't really excited for them 10 years ago either. For G.I. Joe, though, you can actually put G.I. Joe figures in those G.I. Joe vehicles. They are actual G.I. Joe vehicles. That's where those shine. You can't put a 3.75 inch Star Wars figure into this. I do want to point out March 1st. So we're looking at about a week and a couple days, I guess, from now. No. About a week. Yeah, about a week. March 1st, we're going to have the mask reveal from Loyal Subjects. We're going to have Toy Fair and a lot of stuff going on there. And usually a lot of surprises come out of there, too. But then after that, a week after that, is TFCon. And TFCon, I really believe we're going to see a third-party panel, like Fans Toys X Transbots, and them are going to bring some stuff that's a little bit new, a little bit different. But more importantly, I think we're going to get more updates on release timelines, possibly. It's a possibility of what's coming next, but will be interesting to see that panel, and hopefully it doesn't disappoint. I mean, there's been so little news. How can you be that radio silent for so long without having something on it in the works? So Hasbro's partnering with Space Marine developer Saber Interactive for a AAA game title based on tentpole IP, and they're saying that this mentions, it speculates they could be using G.I. Joe, Dungeons & Dragons, or Transformers. So one of those three in this. So curious to see what happens with it. It's like one of those tidbits of news that breaks and someone likes to run with it, but really it hasn't materialized anything just yet, and we're curious what franchise they actually collaborate with. Alright, non-Transformer news. These things do not transform. Actually, the Sky Cutter does sort of transform into a land vehicle. The wings fold down and turn into a land vehicle. So it does transform. So still in the Transformer news, I guess. But this is Thundercats, Super 7 Ultimates. This was the cover of Toy Collector magazine. Inside that magazine is also kind of a history of LJ and Thundercats in there and some other stuff going on with it. But with this is the next wave. They call it 14, 13, 14, something like that. But this is going to have a Voltraman and the Sky Cutter vehicle. Sky Cutter vehicles will be 150, Voltraman will be 55. It's just a recolor of the first one. Voltraman did go a little bit higher on the secondary market. It's a little harder to get your hands on these days. And that makes it a good one for a repaint. Glad they're not just putting it out exactly the same also. That's another good thing. But as for the Sky Cutter, a lot of people pointed out that it's one of the more common and more popular because kids had it back in the day, and as adults it'd be nice to have that. But the other thing pointed out to me is that we don't have a bad guy vehicle for Thundercats yet, and it makes sense to put out a bad guy vehicle. So a lot of these things line up to make it sound like it's an even better decision than going with some of the unreleased ones like I wanted. Anyhow, it is a thing, and it's not It's not like it's radio silent like they are with Joe. G.I. Joe, there's no updates yet. Starting to wonder if I have deja vu, because I really feel like we talked about this last week, but this is really new news. So anyway, there is a pre-order up for Aragorn and Galadriel, and these are Diamond Select figures. They look pretty good for what they are. They're not very posable. They're not the greatest figures in the world, but when it comes to putting them together in a display for your Lord of the Rings display and just having a representation in a moderate pose, they're going to get the job done. And they're not ridiculously expensive, so it's one of those things that you get what you pay for in a way. Let's see here. They're about $30 each. So $30 isn't breaking the bank for them, and you have to admit it is still pretty obscure for the most part. Okay, so this picture is courtesy of Toy Habits and Mr. Home Arcade, which, according to this, Mr. Home Arcade was sent this instead of his Rio Blast. Now I gotta go open my Rio Blast. But honestly, I'd rather have Rio Blast, but I do think this is an interesting, cool character for the most part. In its origins cartoon collection Voltac, and he is part of the She-Ra Princess of the Power 40th anniversary branding, and yeah, looks pretty good. I will pick one up because I think that it looks cool, and I like these deep cuts that they're doing. For the most part, it is, to me, it's smart. Do deep cuts that most people aren't really going to want or need on Mattel Creations, and then characters like Rio Blast should have hit retail, or at least BBTS or some of those places, but hey, it's still available. I mean, I think of the last few releases for Master Universe are all still available on Mattel Creations. Alright, DC Multiverse Theatrical Batman Wave 2 7-inch scale action figures, case of 6. The reason I'm reading all that is because that's really the only way to get this Batman now. If you want the 89 Batman that's getting released, I'm understanding it's still pretty much the same thing that came with the gold label and all the other ones that were out there. But the fact that those sell so well and sell so fast, getting them out there again was nice. Well, guess what? He sold out again. The only way to get it is buy a whole case. Now, here's what you get in the whole case. If you want to buy a whole case for $138 at Entertainment Earth, you get 2 89 Batmans, 3 Batman Begins Batmans. What are you going to do with 3 of those? And then 1 Scarecrow, which people are saying is kind of an exclusive. Gotta say, all I'd want would be 1 89 Batman and be done with it, because I'm not too deep in all this Batman stuff, but I've got the gold label and I'm good. Well, actually, I'm good with the NECA from, 12 years ago? Okay, so Mattel WWE team wants to hear from you. They're saying that there's voting going on between now and February 28th, so the end of the month. You get till close to midnight. And you get one of these other crowdfund concepts. Hell in a Cell, Steel Cage, Modern, Elimination Chamber, Modern, and then Punjabi Prison, and Elimination Chamber Classic. No Holds Barred, is that true? I don't know. I wouldn't know what to pick. I'm not into the wrestling and the wrestling at all, so this means nothing to me, and I'm not voting. I have no voice in it, but if you want to have a voice in it, we'll go vote now. Alright, this is news from Storm Arena. Now, Storm Arena meaning, so this is where I need to really stop and pay close attention. Storm Arena means that they're the $35 or so price point, and Storm Collectibles is the $109 price point. So that's what's been taught to me on this one. But they're showing some teasers for Sagat, Dan Hibiki, Chun-Li, and Charlie Nash, which if I'm not wrong, isn't Charlie also Guile? That's my understanding. Anyway, this is Street Fighter Alpha 3, and we'll be interesting to see these in real form and check them out. But I have to say, I'm very happy with what Jada's doing for the $25 price point. Don't know if I need to go up into this price point, but I will be picking and choosing ones just depending on how they look. That's just the way it is for my Street Fighter shelf. Now, with all that being said, there is Ryu. This is the actual Ryu that is going to be getting released, and it's available for $26.99. So some of these are going to be more expensive, and some are going to be in the cheaper price range. So $26.99 for this one, which is, you know, definitely directly competing with Jada at that price point for $27. I saw something somewhere saying 30 something. Probably Sagat is a bigger figure. That's probably the one that's going to charge a little bit more. So good deal. He looks good for the most part. And yeah, I'll probably check one of these out. I'm not getting both Ryu and Kent yet again. Well, I guess we're to that point at Star Wars news already. It's pretty fast, pretty quick. I do want to say that looking for Star Wars news can either be a full-time job if you're going to look and dig and try to find some new stuff that's happening. You can find stuff that's happening. Or it could be an extreme part-time like me. If it's not on the surface and it's not surface level, easy to find, I'm not digging that hard because I'm losing my interest, especially since most of the stuff is coming out for Disney Star Wars. But this is the Nerf Glow Strike Stormtrooper Triple Strike Blaster. Not that I really want this or anything, but I like the idea, the concept that the light in there charges the darts, and it looks like a laser beam when it's moderately low lighting. It does give an effect like you're shooting a laser, because you're shooting a glowing dart that's been energized for a bit. That's a lot of fun, because I have a couple of the older ones they've done like that, and it is a fun, cool effect. Disney's showing that they've got a C1RN8W droid with lots of colors on it, Droid Factory figure here. And this should be only available at the Disney shop online if you're interested. If you like some droids with some colors, I think it'll be available between now and June. Amazon is updating the arrival expectation from April 3rd to March 27th on these figures. Now, I do want to say I haven't pre-ordered any of this stuff, and the Shadows of the Empire Prince Zizor, it's one of those mixed bags. I love the way this figure looks. I think they've done a fantastic job with it. I also have that weird feeling that for 2 years, the Shadows of the Empire one that they made back in the 90s just sat in clearance bins for like $2, and it just seemed like everywhere you went, you had a Prince Zizor for $2, and you know, I bought mine for full price at $4.50, and I was wondering, oh, I should have waited and got it for $2. I remember those days. Also, up in the top right, the Commando droid is probably, I'm guessing it's going to have the GameStop, the video game reissues that they do, and they redeco it a little bit, because this figure's in Star Wars Battlefront 2, I think, this character. That's a Commando droid, and I think that they think about this when they put a figure out. How can we repaint it? So how will they repaint Prince Zizor? Now we have a Star Wars fan stream February 26th at 11 a.m. Okay, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Now, I probably won't watch the whole thing. I'll skim through it. I'll wait for it to be over and get some highlights on it. I will not be pre-ordering anything, probably. But I want to say this, that I'm curious, what can they even be putting out that would be worth a fan stream? But it'll be curious. I will look at it. I doubt I'll even make a video about it. I doubt it's really going to be important enough, and it's probably only going to be like 3-minute segment next week anyway, talking about it. But it's a curiosity now. Star Wars itself, it just seems to be dying on the vine, and it's such a great franchise. There's so much that could be done with it, but it's just nothing. It seems like it's something that Hasbro just wants to get rid of. It's like they want to be rid of it, and they're putting very little to no resources towards it. Oh, and lastly, I forgot to say, these are going to be back up for pre-order for the twins, the Cubs, the Thunder Twins, but they're having a coming soon spot holder right now, but they'll be up for pre-order again in the future. I don't know. And I'm also kind of curious, what will the price be on those? And then no word on Slythe. It has been taken down and still no word on site. But let me know what you guys think about this week's weekly news in review. What else is going on out there that I missed? A light week, but still some meat on the bone. Like, subscribe to Hanger out.